Chapter 35, The Laurel's Promise. The weeks leading up to Daphne's senior art exhibition were a period of intense transition, significant change for both of us, though in vastly different ways. Daphne was immersed in the final, frenetic push to complete her work, spending countless hours in her studio, the air thick with the scent of paint and the hum of creative energy. I could practically feel the electricity radiating from her, the focused intensity that consumed her as she wrestled her visions into tangible form. I, on the other hand, was throwing myself into an internship at my father's law firm, Reyes Associates. It was, on the surface, a step towards the future he had always envisioned for me, Polo Reyes-esque, following in his formidable footsteps. But something had shifted within me. The internship wasn't merely an act of appeasement, a box to be checked on the path to a preordained destiny. My conversations with Daphne, her unwavering belief in finding one's own truth, had resonated deeply. And then there was the undeniable spark I felt during those initial conversations about reforming the fraternity. I was beginning to see the law, not as a rigid set of rules or a tool for maintaining the status quo, but as a potential instrument for change. The internship itself proved to be a revelation. I was assigned, perhaps not coincidentally, to the pro bono division, working under a sharp, idealistic lawyer named Sarah Chen. Our first major case involved representing a low-income family facing eviction from their apartment due to a landlord's blatant disregard for building codes. The work was grueling, poring over legal documents, interviewing witnesses, researching precedents, but it was also deeply meaningful. I saw firsthand the stark inequalities of the legal system, the ways in which it could be weaponized against the vulnerable. But I also witnessed the power of the law to defend, to protect, to provide a voice for those who were often silenced. I was learning to build a case, to argue a point, to fight for justice. It was a different kind of fight than I was used to, a battle waged with words and legal strategy instead of fists and bravado, and it was exhilarating. My evenings, however, belonged to Daphne. I'd often find my way to her studio, the sterile corporate environment of the law firm fading away as I stepped into her vibrant, chaotic world. The scent of linseed oil and turpentine became a comforting anchor, a reminder of the beauty and passion that existed outside the confines of legal briefs and courtrooms. I'd watch her work mesmerized, not just by the finished product but by the process, the way her brow furrowed in concentration, the way her hands moved with such certainty and grace, the way she transformed raw materials into something breathtaking and imbued with meaning. I wasn't an artist myself, not in the traditional sense, but I felt a deep appreciation for her craft, for the dedication and vision it required. I was an observer and supporter. Daphne, too, was undergoing a transformation. Her art reflected this inner shift, bolder, more confident, more alive than ever before. She subtly wove elements of our relationship into her work, hidden details, a private language shared between us. She was also becoming more assertive, more willing to embrace her own desires, both in her art and in our intimacy. She was shedding the layers of self-doubt and insecurity, revealing the strong, passionate woman beneath. The fraternity, meanwhile, was entering a new phase, one that mirrored my own period of growth and transition. While I'd always cherished the brotherhood, the camaraderie, and the unwavering support system it offered, I also recognized the ongoing need for evolution and improvement. Time equals 500 milliseconds, greater than I'd initiated discussions about consent, healthy relationships, and inclusivity, building upon the existing foundation of academic support and community service that were already strong points of our chapter. My goal was to cultivate a fraternity experience that was not only fun and memorable, but also fostered personal growth, responsibility, and respect. However, with the demands of the internship at my father's law firm, I knew I'd have less time for direct, day-to-day involvement with the fraternity. This wasn't a retreat, but a strategic delegation. I trusted the capable brothers I'd appointed to leadership positions, particularly Paris as social chair and Finn as pledge master, to carry forward the initiatives we'd discussed. I'd specifically charged Finn with fostering a positive and supportive pledge program, emphasizing mentorship and brotherhood over outdated and potentially harmful traditions. I believed in empowering others, in giving them the space to lead and to shape the fraternity's culture. I knew there would be challenges, that progress wouldn't always be linear, and that some ingrained attitudes might take time to change. But I also had faith in the fundamental goodness of the majority of the brothers, in their desire for a fraternity that reflected their values and aspirations. This year would be a test, not just of my leadership, but of the fraternity's collective commitment to building a better, more inclusive, and more responsible brotherhood. The foundation was strong. The question was whether the structure we were building upon it would hold. The opening night of Daphne's exhibition arrived, a culmination of her artistic journey. The botanical gardens were the backdrop to Daphne's art. The gardens thrummed with energy, a vibrant mix of students, faculty, family, and art critics. I stood beside Daphne, my hand resting lightly on the small of her back, a silent gesture of support and pride. I'd chosen a simple black shirt and dark jeans, and a vintage leather jacket Riv had found thrifting, a deliberate departure from the preppy, predictable attire I'd once favored. It was a small act of rebellion, a subtle declaration of my evolving identity. Daphne was breathtaking. Her eyes, usually so intense and focused, sparkled with a mixture of excitement and nerves. She wore a dress the color of a fiery sunset, a bold, confident statement that mirrored the woman she had become. Her sculpture, the centerpiece of the exhibition, commanded attention in the greenhouse space. It was a towering, awe-inspiring vortex of burnished metal and reclaimed wood, a chaotic yet harmonious blend of industrial and organic elements. Interwoven throughout the structure were meticulously crafted laurel leaves, some of gleaming metal, others of subtly textured wood. They were symbols of victory, of resilience, of enduring strength, a reflection of Daphne's own journey, her triumph over adversity. The exhibition was an unqualified success. Critics praised Daphne's technical skill, her artistic vision, her powerful use of symbolism. But the most profound moment for me was witnessing Daphne's mother approach the sculpture, her eyes welling with tears. "Ides beautiful, Daph," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "I tease you." It was a validation, not just of Daphne's art, but of her entire being. Later, after the crowds had dispersed, Daphne and I found ourselves alone in the greenhouse, surrounded by the lingering scent of flowers, champagne, and the familiar comforting aroma of her art. The remnants of the celebration, empty wine glasses, discarded programs lay scattered on tables, silent witnesses to the evening's triumph. I turned to Daphne, my heart full. "You were amazing tonight," I said, my voice sincere. "Time equals 500 milliseconds, greater than. Your art, it's breathtaking. And you were radiant." She smiled, a genuine heartfelt smile that reached her eyes and lit up her entire face. "Thank you," she said softly. "For everything. For believing in me, for supporting me, for being here." I stepped closer, gently tracing the delicate curve of the copper laurel leaf pendant that hung from her neck, a small token of my admiration, a reflection of the larger leaves woven into her masterpiece. My hands then moved up, cupping her face, my thumbs brushing against her cheekbones. "I'll always be here for you, Daph," I said, my voice a quiet promise, a vow whispered in the stillness of the empty gallery. "Always." I kissed her then, a slow, tender kiss, a merging of two souls, a testament to the deep connection we had forged. It was a kiss that spoke of a future yet unwritten, a future filled with both promise and uncertainty, a future we would face together. We held each other close, enveloped in the warmth of our love, the silence punctuated only by the gentle rustling of the leaves in the greenhouse. Hand in hand we walked out, leaving the echoes of the celebration behind. The year stretched ahead, a period of transition, with me immersed in the demanding world of the law firm in the city, and Daphne here, continuing her artistic journey. The laurel had bloomed, a symbol of Daphne's triumph, but it also served as a reminder. The fight for true, lasting change was far from over.